Hi, welcome to Colors of Cariboo. I'm your host, Rohan.
I love an old building. They can tell such wonderful stories. A brief glance into the life of someone who stood in the same spot and built something with their own hands. You don't have to walk far in the Cariboo to see buildings and structures like this everywhere, and as they return to the grasp of nature, the old wood, nails, and beams become a part of our daily routine as we travel in the countryside, a constant reminder that we are both separate and linked to the world around us. Everything you see here now was recorded on the farm of our next guest, Benjamin Bradley. Benjamin is a photographer, and one who tries and captures this delicate link between human and nature. We sat down with him one chilly day and reflected on the everyday phenomenon that he seeks to capture in his works, and his desire to share and inspire others to look at the world in a similar way.
So, we're going to get started here, so grab a chair, grab a drink, and let's get started. Welcome to Colors of Cariboo, stories of wild creativity.
Today's episode was filmed and recorded on the traditional, unceded territory of the Secwepemc peoples, specifically the Twahalcum, or Williams Lake First Nations Band, and the Hatzel, or Soda Creek Band. Hey, we had some audio problems with the last 10 minutes of the episode. I was having some mic problems, not sure what was going on, tried to fix it, but thankfully, Benjamin's mic is perfectly fine, so he sounds wonderful, and I sound a little bit weird. Thank you for understanding. Hi, welcome to Colors of Cariboo. We are here today with our good friend Benjamin. So Benjamin, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for coming on the show, and thanks for inviting us to your beautiful property on this lovely crisp day here. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure can. Well, my name's Benjamin Bradley. I'm originally from Aotearoa, New Zealand. I've been living in Canada now for 10 years, and more specifically the Cariboo for just over 2 years.
So, and what was one of the reasons that brought you to Canada here?
Well, so what brought me to Canada was a whole range of things, really. My dad is Canadian to begin with, so I've always had this dream of seeing what Canada's all about. He was from this place called Vancouver, which to me was really the other side of the world. I knew nothing about it. So I've always had a fascination with coming to Canada. But at the moment that I came to Canada, I was traveling around USA, Canada, and Europe with my iPhone app doing photography stuff. And I kind of came to the end of my trip. I was in Vancouver. I had a plane ticket back to Auckland, and I just thought, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to go back to New Zealand right now. I'm just going to see what else I can do here. I'm not ready to go home. And yeah, I've been here for 10 years now. I'd always wanted to come, but it was also kind of an accident and a spur-of-the-moment decision to stay.
Oh, you gotta love those spur-of-the-moment things.
Yeah.
So they can have such an influence on everything. And well, I mean, you're here 10 years later after that moment.
Exactly, loving it.
That's right. And so you started out in, like, after you did your trips and everything and your travels, you started out in Vancouver area, right?
Yep. So I stayed in Vancouver. I was there for probably 2.5 years, and I met my partner Megan there, and had a bunch of friends, and basically we were trying to plan our life together, see where we're going to go next. So although we were in Vancouver enjoying it, we weren't using this city really. So we were paying a lot of money to live there, but not getting back all the benefits we thought we'd like. So we moved to Calgary. Megan is from Calgary, and we thought we'd go there and kind of spend some time with her family, have less rent, try to save some money, and try to, figure out what's next. Yeah, so we started in Vancouver, went to Calgary. I was there for 5 years, and then we ended up here.
Okay, so from Calgary, so Vancouver to Calgary to here. It's quite a bit of a jump there. So
I mean, it's been good. I think it's been like, going to Vancouver, even like the temperatures there when I first moved was so different to New Zealand. I was like, even seeing -1, -2 on the phone, I was like, this is crazy. So then Calgary was a real experience because you're seeing -40s.
Oh, yes.
And that kind of, I guess, warmed me up for here.
Yeah.
And now, it's like I feel not proper Canadian, but like seeing -35 on the thing doesn't scare me as much anymore as it did in the past.
The lovely rite of passage here.
Yeah, so it's been nice to have these different experiences, especially since New Zealand, where I lived, we never had anything like that.
Yeah.
We might have had -2 -5, but never anything, no snow on the ground for months at a time.
Yeah, and see, that's what baffles me. That's like, I mean, I grew up here, so it's like, I cannot imagine a world without that. And then I went and lived in the prairies as well and did a bunch of stuff in Alberta too, so I'm very familiar with that too.
Yeah,
so.
it gets cold, but it's so strange, especially this time of year. I'm used to it warming up, so it is strange it is really just, it's so different to have such a cold experience.
And so you found something in Calgary that kept you there for 5 years.
Yeah, well, we were there mainly for Megan, and we were close to her family. But we also both worked for a small apparel company there. So it was a very small company, maybe 5 or 6 people, creating mountain-inspired apparel.
Oh, okay.
Megan's a clothing designer, so she was working on coming up with new items for them. And then I was working, I did a whole lot of different things there. I was, creative marketing, doing photography, but also shipping packages and building the website. So it was really cool to be part of a small team and be able to make impact across a whole lot of different parts of the company. Those were the things that were keeping us there at the time, was just family, and we both had, good fun jobs with a small little company. Yeah.
And so the question from that is, so from Calgary, what drew you to the Cariboo here?
Yeah, so what drew us was, like I said, when I was in Vancouver, we had some friends there, and we'd always discuss with them moving rurally and living, out of the cities. I grew up rurally, so I've kind of had that experience, and I wanted to go back to it. So ever since Vancouver 10 years ago, that's been in the back of our minds of wanting to create a life somewhere else, try something different, move out of the city. So ever since Vancouver, that's kind of been the idea. Calgary was the savings part, and then the final moving was, we have to do it at some point. We'd just spent a couple of years in lockdown, and that exposed so many different things to us. And it was just really came to be the time, and our friends in Vancouver, they were ready to do it. So, we just started looking really. We to actually come to the Cariboo specifically was kind of a mixture of, we just ended up here, but we'd also come up here a couple of times in prior years over New Year's and doing camping and Airbnb. So we were kind of familiar with the area, but it really did just turn out that there were properties here that were within our range, and the area is just super beautiful. So a lot of things came together in 2023 for us to land in the Cariboo, and it's just really worked out. It's just such a beautiful place. We purchased it in the fall, so I'm sure that contributed to just driving back to Calgary. I never wanted to go back, but it was just so nice to come out here, and the colors are just beautiful. Yeah,
it's the reason why the podcast is called what it is, because the colors of Cariboo is just, it's something else. And I'm happy that you found yourself here. We're very happy to have more people coming here, and especially living rurally. And in fact, you live just down the road from where I grew up myself too. So which is always neat and always cool. I like those kind of little tidbits too.
Yeah, that is so cool. Even since I've been living here, I was doing some freelance work a couple of weeks ago, and we're filming with TELUS. But it turns out that the person we're filming with is my neighbor, just over there. I hadn't met him yet, and he was like, "Oh, I just live down by Rose Lake," and I was like, "Oh, same. That's exactly where I live." And he, I was like, "I'm 2 doors down there." He's just down the road.
There's a lot of property here, but it still can feel like a very close-knit community at times.
I think so.
So you've touched upon it a little briefly, but so what is a primary creative outlet for you? What is your art, I guess, is the best way to say that.
Yeah, well, my main form, my main way of communicating with the world, I would say, is through photography. I've been taking photos really since I was 15 years old, that when I first got a camera and started trying to figure out taking photos. So I'd say that's my main way that I can communicate with the world. I find it the easiest way to, although my pictures may be kind of complex and hard to understand at first look, it's not your most obvious photo. The photos that I take are the way that, I feel like my mind communicates with the exterior world. I'd say photography is the biggest thing, but all visual stuff is really what I'm working in. I've worked in video, painting, drawing, writing. I do explore a whole lot of different mediums, but photography is definitely the one that I keep coming back to. It's the one that in the morning I pick up my camera, I walk outside, and I feel like I come home with a whole lot of little treasures.
I was going to say that because I tend to do a little bit of research on everybody, as guests and listeners know, and so of course that means I'm taking a look at different portfolios and things like that, and I notice especially like on your Instagram, there's a lot of just like especially recently, there's a lot of just like simple. Well, I say simple in the terms of just like it's not what a lot of people would necessarily expect, but it's like you've got stuff about you going out and doing chickens and you going out and living the life, and just there's pictures of just like of flowers of just your backyard. There's a very like there's an elegance to it that I quite like.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I think I definitely so. Yeah, it's like it's not an obvious photo. A lot of the things that I take. So like you said, it might be flowers, it might be grass, it might be, I've been taking a lot of pictures of grass recently, and it's to someone they might see it and be like, why? But I don't talk about my photos so much. I want people to read into them and investigate them. But it's usually because of, it's not just grass. It's the composition, the light, the color. It's all these things together that just happen to come together right at that moment. Basically, only for me. No one else is. The photos I take, literally, no one else could ever take them because it's always based in this. It's around where I live. So it's really just. It's communicating that interior world. It's where my interior world meets the exterior world, and they like hold hands for a little second. And I'm not trying to shoot landscapes or portraits or anything like that. I take photos of anything really, and it's how those things interact together and make me feel, and hopefully someone else feels the same way.
Well, and I like that point that you made about somebody might ask, well, why are you taking a picture of grass? And I think that kind of demonstrates of just like what you've just said with just like, yeah, it's about the lighting, the composition, it's about this, it's how I see the world. And if somebody can look at a picture and be like, oh, why are they doing that? And then if they're asking a question, I think that kind of implies that they should be trying to answer it. So then when they start looking at it, it's like, oh, why did you take a picture of this grass here? Well, it looked like this, it had this moment. Or even at the end of the day, it's the very simple of like, it is a moment from your life that can never truly ever be replicated again.
Absolutely. Can never be replicated. And I think like there's so many photos I haven't taken, and I just wished I had taken them, because and it's the same as when you lose a photo, like you just delete it or you do something silly. There's a real connection there. When you lose something like that, you're like, oh, there was something there. It may just be a photo, but you've lost something. Mm-hmm. But like going back to I used to have, I still get questions, but my grandma asked once, I took a picture and it had power lines in it, and she said, why? Oh, I wish there wasn't power lines in it. Not being mean or anything like that, but I just replied saying like that the photo is of the power lines. It's I'm not seeing them in a negative light. When it's like, I think a lot of people will see roads and power lines and all these things that are made by humans as being a negative thing on the environment, whereas I often will just see them as part of the environment, whereas the earth has made people and the people have made roads and things. So I think something we should capture is all of that stuff together, the interaction between the trees and the power lines, and those small interactions to me are like what is important.
Well, it's a very human way to look at things, and
separating stuff. I think that's the main thing. I'm trying to put stuff all back together.
Yeah, we really like separating those things, and we like to think. Definitely, it feels sometimes that we like to think that we are completely separate and devoid of nature, when in fact it's like, no, as exactly as you said, it's like we come from the earth. The earth it's like we are a part of nature and we're a part of that thing. And yeah, there are things that we probably shouldn't be doing, but there are things that it's like, yeah, they're done and they're a part of everything. And
mm-hmm.
and I wonder if we start thinking that a little bit more, that might make have different perspectives, and being able to show that is important.
Yeah, I think that's definitely important, especially in the world we live in today. We want to bring people more together than spread them apart. And, literally from birth, you're told, this is you, this is the world. Yeah. There's two things going on here. So I think a lot of my work, whether it's photography or what books I read, it's about bringing stuff back together. Or not bringing it back together, it already is together. Just showing that it's already one. Yeah. It doesn't need to be re-put back together.
Kind of feels a bit like it echoes your own life a little bit. Like, as you mentioned, you came from a rural background, and that's always been kind of like a calling, which I can attest to as well too, because I also came from a rural background. I also moved to cities to do a lot of acting and theater work and artistic work like that. And like, yeah, there's always that little niggle in the back of my head. It's just like, I just need like 10 acres. I just want a little like a horse, some cows and things like that. There's this real sense of, yeah, like you can take the person out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the person, I guess is a good way of putting that.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And yeah, like you said, moving to the cities, when I lived, like I lived rurally, and then I moved when I was 17. I moved to go to university in Wellington. It wasn't a huge city, but for me it was, completely different life. Yeah. And then from there, I wanted to go further and bigger and go and visit all the big cities. Yeah. And I did, and it was amazing. But yeah, there's something about the quietness, the stillness, being able to come back here and just reset really, and then go back into the world. And I'm not like against being in the world or going to the big cities. I think they're amazing places where it's like a hub of just creativity really. But yeah, just coming back out here provides that quiet, peaceful life that I had when I was younger, and then moved away and seemed to come back to. And who knows, I don't know what will change in the future, but this really does to me feel like the place to be.
It is a great place to just kind of like, I guess, reassess yourself or I can't think of the word, reconfigure yourself maybe. Yeah.
Fill your cup back up. Or
exactly.
What I've written down here is like, I'm trying to create the environment that I want to create in. I want to be able to be free of other people. I just want to create from within, and out here it allows me to do that more. Yeah. So just creating that environment of when I get up in the morning, I can get up super early. There's no one around. I can go out and walk around. It's just it's just so peaceful.
That was one thing I always liked when, especially when I was working, because when I went to university in Saskatoon, which is also not like a big city, but like still big enough and completely different than what I grew up here. And of course, like for myself, I found that like there was a lot of people in my program were people who came from the city, which is great. It just different expectations. And one thing I always thought is just like, I miss being able to just like walk out in the middle of a field and just be able to scream at the top of my lungs and have nobody care about that.
Yeah.
We were a little farther out and had a little bigger property, so our neighbors weren't as close. So your neighbors might get a little worried if you did that.
You hear the old farmer give some yelling here and then. No one seems to worry.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could yell out here and no one's gonna care.
Now, do you find that, because you've said you've been doing photography since you were 15, do you find that there has been a shift in your perspective from when you were in a larger city center to where you are currently right now?
Yeah, huge shift. Like when I first started, I picked up a camera when I was 15, but I didn't really start photography until my early 20s when, Instagram had just come out. So it was really about... My photography's definitely changed in the fact that was when I was just trying out everything, trying out different stuff, and you getting feedback from social platforms and things. So my early photography was definitely figuring it out and seeing what people liked, seeing what resonated with people and trying to do that. And after a couple of years, I refined my style more and figured out I stopped shooting such, not obvious photography, but I used to do a lot of like landscapes and just general photography where it was like very easy to understand. You put it up online and people can appreciate it. But that kind of got boring to me because it felt like I was taking the same pictures everyone else was taking. And my photography definitely during those early years started shifting into more quiet type photos where it was really pictures of nice light, calm environments, just really calm and quiet settings really. And I'd say for the last most of my years that's what I've been looking for, is this type of photo that is just quiet and unassuming and just hopefully provides some sort of like, why did you take it, that kind of thing. And I think since then I'm still taking that kind of photo, but I've added more complexity now. I'm trying to take more complex photos, I used to rely a lot on depth of field, just having a nice one single thing in focus and the rest not. So you're really telling the viewer, this is what's important. Whereas now I'm kind of shooting, what was the word? Yeah, I'm trying to organize more information, I'd say. So trees, grass, plants, all these things together, so I can create like a dynamic composition out of all this chaos. So now my photos are really, I'm looking for that one moment of organized chaos where everything comes together. So, and that is like, yeah, that's what I'm finding fun at the moment, is really trying to organize the world in a way where you would have never assumed there to be a photo there or anything to be there, but really everything is happening right in these little scenes.
I like that idea of organized chaos, especially when you think about like even just like trees and grass. Like it feels like it's something that they're there and they've always been there. It always feels like they're always been there, or it's always going to be coming up, and you just kind of like, you look at it and your eyes just kind of glaze over it. But yeah, there's a chaos to trees and grass, because like we can't predict when it's going to grow, or like exactly what shape it's going to take, or exactly where it's going to happen. And like there are some factors we can work in, but there's this, and then like you mix in the light, you mix in the time of the day, you mix in even like the angle that you're looking at, and like even the feeling that you're looking at too. Because like if you're coming out and if you're feeling great, you're going to look at it in a different light, or if you're having a bad day, you're going to look at that in a different way too, and that's might be something that you're wanting to capture. I think that's a really interesting philosophy towards that.
Totally. And that's and what comes into that as well is, since I'm living here and in Calgary, my photography, the zone I was photographing in reduced a lot. I didn't find myself going to locations as much to take photos. I was doing it on my everyday walks. So it's like you said, every day is different. You might be feeling happier or sadder, or it might be raining or not. So when you go on your walk, you're literally seeing everything in a completely different light every single day. So many of my photos, I'll never take a photo on that spot again, because it's literally it's become uninteresting the next day. It's just not, it's not doing what it was the day before. So yeah, I think just knowing that you can go out there every day and get something different is pretty exciting.
Yeah, and just see things and see the things that are right there in front of you.
Yeah, and it's like I am documenting it, because a lot of photography is about, the real world. You're documenting something right there. So I am taking photos of today, so I do anticipate in 20 years to look back at them and see what's changed, it is a photo of today still, rather than being completely abstract, is I guess what I mean.
That reminds me of, so when I worked in Barkerville, one of the most important historical documents up there was the journal of the barber Moses. And his journal is incredibly boring to read, because it was just times of the times that the post came in, times that what the weather was like, who was walking around. It wasn't their personal feelings, it wasn't their personal thoughts, but it was the most important one, because it gave us such a intimate day-to-day life of this person and the town there. And for some reason, it's making me think of just this, like what you're talking about is just like, yeah, I'm documenting this everyday kind of thing. You're documenting to what a lot of people would be like, yeah, technically they're mundane things. It's grass. It's just stuff. It's stuff that's daily consistent on your walk. But as you said, you're going to be able to look back on that, and you're going to have like such a interesting documentation of all of those different times. And that's, I think, yeah, we want to sensationalize things a lot, don't we?
I think we do. Yeah, absolutely. Especially with social media and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's hard not to, we get so much validation through people liking your picture and commenting on it. So it's hard not to only want to show the good, or, the best thing rather than the smaller moments. So I agree that it's like, it'll be nice to look back on this catalog of things and appreciate everything about the environment rather than just the best sunset and like the cutest baby and all these things, which are all great things as well. You should take photos of everything.
Oh yeah, I have so many pictures of my kids. So many pictures.
Exactly. Like there's so many different reasons for taking photos. Like this, when I go out to create photographs for myself, I'm doing it in such a different way than if I'm with friends with my cell phone just grabbing a few snaps. And I think they're both valid and they're both going to do great things in the future for looking back on them, but it's just a different angle of how you're looking at things.
One of them is capturing a memory. One of them is expressing the memory, I think. Almost.
Yeah, expressing it and like, showing the world that, just trying to show myself to the world, I guess. Because like I don't ever really talk about my photos, or I'm quite a quiet, shy person, so I don't often say these things. Hopefully the photos can show something that I can't say.
Yeah. Well, that's the wonderful, lovely thing about art is that it gives everybody the chance to express themselves. It gives everybody the chance to actually, like, to say something without having to say something, and just be like, yeah, this is how I view the world. You can take it however you want, but this is just my slice of the world. And it's also something I always find awe-inspiring is the fact that it is the only perception of the world that is completely and utterly unique. Like, no matter what, no matter who came before us, no matter who comes after us, your perception is your perception. Like those moments that you're walking and seeing the grass, seeing the smoke rise from the trees or something like that, that's something that's only ever going to be captured by you and no one else.
Yeah.
Which is, awe-inspiring and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's amazing. And it's amazing that literally everyone has such a unique perspective. Yeah. So it is really just, it's important that people do show these things. And and I think that's why my photos look more like they do, is because I'm just trying to show something slightly different, really. Yeah.
And it feels like there's kind of a motif for that, because I think in some of the other work, because you have a couple of apps that are out, right? And they're mostly like photo apps and things like that, correct?
Yep. So I have 2 apps out right now. One's called PicFX, and that's it's been out since 2011. Mm-hmm. So it came out months after Instagram came out. We were amongst some of the early apps, and the reasoning for doing that was, one of my friends is a programmer. I was into photography. Instagram was going along, and we just wanted to make creative tools, and like editing was we were really into heavy editing and adding textures and layering up stuff, and there wasn't many apps around for that, so we really wanted to create some sort of tool or get involved in it, really. And then over the years it grew, and people also liked it, and it was really fun to be able to create tools for other creatives to express themselves, really. And it's an entry-level app, so it's more about new photographers trying out stuff, just giving them tools to express themselves. And
that's kind of what I've been feeling. I'm listening to you talking about like expressing yourself, and also wanting to conjoin like humanity and nature back together. And then it totally makes sense that you've got an app and that helps other people be able to do the same thing. And like I played around with the app a little bit. It's like, it's easy, it's fun, and you look at it and it's like, oh yeah, look at all these. It's like you feel good, you feel nice about like, oh yeah, this looks so cool, I can do all this kind of stuff. So
yeah, that's what it is. It's just like opening up that getting people's creative juices flowing. Mm-hmm. It may not be an app where you're gonna do your final edits. It may be an app where you do your final edits, but it's gonna give you a bunch of different looks and things where you can kind of figure out your style or understand editing, something like that. Yeah. But the other app I do is called Sound Journal, and this is something I've done. It's a lot newer. Came out just before 2020, I guess. So I was doing a bunch of field recordings at the time. So that's just recording the environment rather than taking a photo. But I would end up with all these recordings, and I didn't know how to share them. You can email it or text it, but I didn't like people just getting a voice memo, basically pushing play. It's kind of, I don't know. It doesn't really, you don't know what's going on. I guess people get it and they're not don't think it's that fun. So I started taking photos at the same time as doing my field recordings, and then I combine them together. So you might have a photo of trees, but then the audio in the background playing is the birds or the wind or whatever is happening in the environment. Yeah. And so the app idea is called Sound Journal, and it's basically about journaling sounds. So you're going out into the world, taking an audio recording and a photo, and the app combines them together to create a sound journal, and you've kind of got this new piece of media where it's not just a photo, it's not a video because it's not moving, but you've got an added layer of information. So you're looking at a photo and hearing the environment, and it's really quite a strange experience, like when you first see it, because it's just a still photo. So if you're used to watching Instagram, you're used to coming to a video and it's moving around and you got sound. So when you got a still picture with just audio playing, people are pretty confused, really. So it's definitely a new idea, but I've found myself, when I go back and look at sound journals from the past, just as much as you want to look at a picture, that audio is in your memory as well. So I actually go back and just listen to the audio. So there's like these two things playing off each other that I think really, when you look back on them, are just amazing. Like pictures of friends, or like hearing friends talk in your photo is really, it's just an experience that's quite new and hard to explain.
Yeah, that's kind of, I'm visualizing it a bit. I played around with that app a little bit too. So
okay, cool.
As I said, I do my research.
Yeah,
I
cool.
try to do my research. But
what did you think of that? Did you have fun with that?
I did. It was
It's definitely, it's interesting.
Yeah, it is. I found that like if I were to do it a bit more, I feel like having that way to just like merge the two of them together is, in some ways, it means that you have to, like, if you're looking at a still image, as you said, it's not moving, you're not being stimulated by that, but you get to take in the image a bit more, and you also get to take in the audio a bit more, like in different ways, because they're linked but not one-to-one kind of thing. They're not being put in your brain, so there is that like little like slight just disconnect from that, which I think means that you kind of have to like pay attention to that a little bit more. So
I think you definitely have to pay attention, and it's so new of an idea that I think it's going to take people a while to understand, like, why would I want to do this, what's it good for. And I think even for myself, I don't know what its final destination is. Someone's going to use it one day and come up with the coolest idea ever of how sound journals should be, like, I don't know what it is. It's really a tool for experimenting with and just something fun. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and again, that like being able to like focus on one aspect of that, because videos are great. This is going to be a video and we're going to have little moving parts. See? That's where the budget goes, just moving hands. But if you're able to just like, I almost isolate those two things and yet merge them. I don't know. I'm seeing visions of like a tier, like a 2-tiered cake or something like that, where they're kind of the similar, but they're kind of not. Like one's chocolate, one's vanilla. I don't know if this metaphor is working.
It is something like that, because when you're taking a video, you're basically, you do think about the audio, but most people are just taking a video. The audio comes along with it. And with Sound Journal, you're really thinking about what's that audio going to be and what's the photo going to be, so that when you're sitting there investigating the frame, that audio is actually telling you additional information as well. It's just a very interesting thing. And I think it's going to take more time and more investigation into what it does best. But for me, looking back at them, it's just like hearing the audio is really, really does something. Looking back at sound journals is really cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah, kind of, again, fits that idea of like bringing things together. I get that. I'm getting that impression from you a lot, of that. You really like to bring things together. You like to bring, human and nature. You like to bring photos, and you like to bring the simplicity with elegance and all of these things, and now audio and visual. Yeah,
just it's all different types of storytelling somehow. Like I love telling stories and just communicating through different visual ways. So I think that's just another way for people to do it, and for other people to try it out. And video is hard, so just snapping one picture and then getting your audio might be a little easier for some people than a whole video, because it's hard work.
And telling a story with a photo is also I can see how some people might, like, especially again going back to like how like social media works now. It's like, you get reels, you get clips, everything is video recorded, everything is like that, and so the story is like handed to you in a lot of the ways. But with a photo, you yourself have to do the work for that. And then if you add audio onto that, is its own separate layer, because that could be telling two similar adjacent stories at the same time that have a connection but aren't necessarily like the same kind of things. So it's I think that's a really interesting perspective and way to look at like again, storytelling and as a medium and a method.
And maybe it's just another way of slowing down for people. Like, because I've been posting these on TikTok as well, and I thought people weren't going to enjoy them because it's not really a video. It's just that still picture. But I'd say the sound journals that I've been posting on TikTok have been getting a better reception because I think it does provide a break within all these videos, you know? It gives you just a little, just a nice picture with some sound. Yeah. It does give you a little break. So maybe it's just a more quiet way of being able to create content.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I like that idea of just in all of the chaos of like TikTok and Instagram and things like that, you're scrolling and then all of a sudden just like you get this quiet moment of respite. You get this, which is good. Like I think that's you mentioned slowing down a bit, which like previously when I've talked to other artists who've moved up to this area, they find that's a really important thing for them, is that here permits them a chance to slow down a little bit. Yep. And do you find that for yourself too?
Yeah. Absolutely, in so many different ways. Not only is it literally a slower lifestyle, it's town's further away, so we have to plan better, which means we go into town, we get all our food, and then we cook food for multiple weeks in a row. So it's like it slows down across so many different levels. It's like just cooking at home. We've got space for a garden now, so we're not full gardeners, but we're getting a few pieces out of the garden. We've got our chickens. So it's really slowing down and being more intentional about what we want and how we go about getting it. So yeah, just moving out here has just really slowed everything down, purposefully, and not in a negative way. We've still got access to everything we've ever wanted or needed, but now we can live more intentionally and slowly. Yeah,
especially when the trees knock out your power and everything like that.
Yeah, well, 2 weeks without internet. It was awesome. It was really, really cool. It reminded me how much I'm on my phone. But then, it didn't take long before my phone literally became just something I set on the table. Because I'm mainly using it to run my business or access Instagram or access these other platforms. And when that's gone, you can't do much on there. Yeah. But I think it makes me want to use my phone in a more intentional way. Because I don't do a ton of browsing and watching online, but I do some, and I'm thinking like maybe Instagram's just something I use on my computer. Maybe I use it as a place to go upload my stuff, have a quick browse, and then leave. It doesn't need to be the thing that's my main in my pocket thing. Like I carry my book around. That's a good enough thing to like pick up and do.
Yeah, I remember always having to carry books around. Because I never had that stuff on my phone for long as a time. And in university, I'd always have a book or something like that, and I rarely do that anymore. But.
Yeah, it's something I've done a lot since I've moved here. It's the most reading I've done in my whole life, really. I've always been into books, into reading. One of the things when I moved out here, I intentionally wanted to choose to read rather than watch a TV show. So now I don't really watch any TV, and I mainly read books, and it's become so much better because I feel like books are written from beginning to end with a clear idea about what they're trying to tell. And a lot of the TV I see these days is more written by 50 people, and across 6 episodes there's a thread, but it just feels so all over the place, and I don't know if I'm going to have a good experience or a bad experience. Whereas with books, I'm mainly just having a good experience. I'm getting what I want, and it doesn't.
Or like you get like a good first season of a show, and then the second season comes out and it's just garbage.
Yeah, I know, and you're waiting every week, and it keeps letting you down a little bit more each week, and then you just end up at the end being like, oh, that was a lot of time.
And the nice thing too, I feel with the book is that I feel, for some reason, I feel less guilty about a book. Not that I watch a whole ton of TV myself, anyways, but there is. I mean, and again, I love books too. I've definitely spent the last few years doing a lot more reading. This is the most I've read this year. I've been reading quite a bit more this year. But yeah, there is, I don't know. I just like books. They're great. And I remember I grew up here. I'd go climb trees and I'd read a book for hours, or my favorite thing was just have a little flashlight that would be under my bed, or under my bed covers and things, and I like that, and I miss that, and I think I mean, I could get away with it right now. I could probably bring a flashlight into my bed. I don't think my partner would mind that. But
Well, I mean, I agree with that. Like, one of the first things I bought here was like a tiny little book light, and that was one of my favorite things, reading in the dark somewhere around the house where it's just you with this tiny little bit of light on your own. It's really one of the best feelings.
And the silence of the area, like that's what I always like reading in, like, out on the farm. There is that you've got, like, I guess not silence. It's a different. It sounds silent in comparison to like a larger city center or even a town there, but like there's just a different type of noise that is here. Like even in the background, there's some cows, we've got some chickens, we've got like hawks and crows and things like that talking, and we've got a nice little rustle in the wind here with the trees, and it's naturalistic. It's nice.
It certainly is. It's so calming. And like you said, it's even when we have people visit, they say how quiet it is, and it is. It's extremely quiet. But once you do live here, you realize it's not quiet. There is a ton of nature and little things going on, and I love that. And sitting around reading and having the rain on our roof, it's just, we're creating this environment we want to be in. We want to wake up every day and experience.
Yeah. And that's such a wonderful thing to be able to do, and to be able to express again, like with the work that you're doing too.
Yeah, I feel extremely lucky, to like be owning our own house and living out here doing it. We bought the house with our friends, so it wasn't, it's still difficult to buy a house and do what you want to do, but it's all part of creating it and wanting it to happen, and basically willing it into experience is just trying to make it happen. Really.
And
whatever it takes, and
even being up here with, like, because I imagine if it was just you and your partner, that would be a different feeling than if you were with friends. How is it being with, like, having that starting with a little bit of a community here, just being able to live with friends? And
they moved up from down near Vancouver. We came from Calgary, so it's been amazing to have people we know in the area, and just none of us have lived on a 10-acre property before, so there's tons of things to learn. And like, we're on a well and a sewage lagoon, so it's like, I don't know, we moved out here and we're like, what are these things? We've never even heard of them before. So it's definitely been good to have other minds around to kind of figure out the more difficult, it's not difficult, but the new experiences.
Yeah, the new experiences.
And facing, like, the biggest experiences is the long driveway with the snow, It's like, there's things to be done, but it's definitely, it's been good to come up with other people for sure.
Yeah, because I could, when you're moving by yourself somewhere else, that's also like, that's difficult. I mean, it can be fun, it's exciting. I'm like, a lot of people have done that at some point, but I don't know. For me, as I'm getting older, I'm just like, I just want to, I want to go somewhere where there's people I know, because it's hard to make friends sometimes, and it's hard to be a part of different communities, and especially I find with trying to get into the artist community too, like that can feel a little bit, and one thing I've talked with quite a few people about is about how sometimes they like people wanting to become a part of the artistic community in this area, and then people struggling to do that, but also people just being like, I'm just gonna do my own thing, I'm good doing that.
Yeah, no, totally. And I feel like I'm a mix of all those things. When I moved to Calgary, it was, even though it's a city of over 1 million people, it can be hard to get into the creative community or find the right people or be able to show your work to people who are going to understand it or want to understand it. And it's definitely the same here, but even though it's smaller, I've still met so many, the community hall, there's so many people we've met, people in town. And although a lot of the people haven't met artists, they're like amazing mechanics, amazing farmers. These people are all artists in their own way. They're like extremely intelligent, and it's just been so cool to see what people are doing out here, and like just how nice everybody is. I haven't been desperately looking for a artist community, but I'm slowly finding one just through the different people I've met.
Yeah, and there are so many people here. Again, doing this podcast,
so cool.
Finding all of the names of people who are like, oh yeah, I do this on the side. Or it's like, no, I've been doing this for like 23 years. And it's like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, that must be so cool to be able to go around and just, since you've lived here for so long, is to see that again freshly, maybe, is like just meet some new people and see, well, all this stuff is going on all the time. Yeah.
I think that's I I hadn't really thought about it that way before. That's like, yeah, I am seeing, but it is completely true. This podcast has definitely helped myself feel a lot more connected to this area. Because I know my art is a little, like, the art stuff that I got involved in is a little bit different than visual stuff, because there's unfortunately not really an easy way for like an actor to make a living off of the stuff that they do in a town like this here. There's lots of amazing performances and acts that happen with the Williams Lake Studio Theater, with the high schools and all of that stuff. But I know that when I moved back here, I was missing the artist community that I developed in places like Barkerville and Wells and Saskatoon there. But the podcast has really opened that up. And yeah, as I said, looking at things in fresh new eyes. Like, there are so many people in this area who are so creative, and I'll admit, when I was younger, it was difficult to see that sometimes, and I think there was also still that mentality of like, no, it's like art is a nice thing to do on the side, but here I find it's a lot more open. I think people like over the years it's developing, and people are, I mean, I think they've always been there. They're just maybe being a little more vocal about it now.
Yeah, totally. Like, yeah, I agree with all what you're saying there. Like, I feel like everyone in this area, just you're naturally creative and an artist just to live this lifestyle, really. To like, it's slightly more difficult. You have to do more for yourself. So you are creating. I see all that kind of stuff as art. So even as you're a kid and you don't really see the nice drawings and things coming out through it, people are living in a creative way.
Well, and expressing yourself in the farm, because as you're experiencing, the winters can be quite a lot here sometimes.
And expressing yourself on the farm might just be like doing really good welding, or like being able to put up a fence when it's negative 40 degrees. Like, all these things are things that you've learned and become better at, and can like express. It's something that you can express into the world and show someone else. Because I think art really is about, it's not necessarily teaching, but it's just re-showing the world, or something like that.
It's that kind of going to what you were saying earlier. It's like expressing that viewpoint, expressing what you are seeing, and like, I like that. I really like that idea of everything that we are doing is in some way, we've got to be creative. Like, there's a reason that there's like the stereotypes of like farmers, cobbling together their old tractor with hay bale, with baling wire and like duct tape, because like you got to be creative when you're
making it work. Right? Yeah, they're like, they know how to, and nearly everyone wouldn't be able to do that. It's because they've been through those experiences, and they've had no other alternatives. It's like, well, we got to get this done. If we don't, then, well, we're losing our livelihoods, or we're losing the thing that is important to us. And and I think, nobody likes to lose things that are important to them. Yeah, no, not at all.
So we, as we start wrapping up here, I ask everybody the same 3 questions. So we're going to start with question number 1. If you could spend a week with anybody in the world, past or present, who would that person be and why?
Yeah, I would probably choose Lee Friedlander. He created the social landscape type photography, which is what I try to do, combining, organizing a whole lot of different information into one single frame, and just I'd love to follow him for a week and see what he did, because I don't know, you see some photographers spend a long time taking a shot. Some people are just taking a quick shot. His photos, the way they present themselves to the world, are as if he just walked by, grabbed the perfect moment and continued on. So I'd really like to see that. Like, what's the process behind his photo taking? I think since my work is most inspired by someone like him nowadays, I'd just like to see how he did it, because his photos seem effortless, but it just contain so much information.
That is the blessing and the curse of being an artist, is that you understand that it can take, you understand, this looks like it's so simple, but all of the work that has to go on behind that, and all of the stuff that the training and the eye that needs to go there. And again, especially because it's somebody who's inspired you in your work too, that makes, that would be really cool to see.
Yeah, especially, and he just worked in a time, earlier than me, and I think there was less, it'd just be cool to see how he did it. Just how everyone takes photos in such different ways. You hear of William Eggleston only ever taking one picture of everything he did. Like, I have no idea if Lee Friedlander took 10 or 5, and then he culled it down and chose one. because I typically just take 1 or 2 pictures, and then, you know, if you take too many, it creates more work. I don't know which one's good now. I don't know.
You're looking at, it's like, what are the differences between these two? See, that's how I take photos. I am because I don't have the best visual eye, but I am well, if I take 100 photos, then eventually I know one of them will be okay.
One will be good. And I think that's a good way to do it as well. It's interesting to see everyone's different way.
Thank you. That was an excellent answer for that.
There you go.
Not that there are any wrong answers. So, I mean, even if you said, I just want to spend a week with myself, I think that would still be okay.
I mean, it's pretty fun. I mean, I'd spend a day with like any professional athlete as well, or anyone who's just at the top of their game. It's like, what do you do to get there? Because it's obviously a lot.
All right. So our second question, what is your favorite compliment that you have ever received?
Favorite compliment? I don't have a favorite compliment, but it's you know, I baked our neighbours some bread the other day, and the way their faces lit up when I told them that was enough. I just love it. Just doing stuff with people and seeing people's reactions. I don't know if I have a favorite compliment, but just being appreciated and complimented by anyone I do work with is always really nice.
I like that. That's such a wholesome moment to be able to think, and I think it's something that we can all understand. And yeah, I mean, I'd be freaking happy if our neighbors knocked on our door with a loaf of baked bread there. And again, kind of also just shows, becoming a part of the community, doing more stuff with that. Yeah,
and just like the small, it's like doesn't have to be nothing to me has to be a big show or an act. It's just those small things are nice, and being appreciated for it is also nice.
And again, fits with the moments in your life there. So question 3, what is the best advice that you have ever been given, or is there a piece of advice that you wish somebody had given you?
I mean, the best advice, I don't think I've been particularly given it when I was younger or anything like that, but it's just really keep going. Just always keep going. And also, it's like nothing ever happens immediately. It's doing a small thing, the next day do a small thing, the next day do a small thing. So it's creating those habits of small things and just keep going, and like stuff does happen. You just got to keep going and keep building up. I think those are the most important things that I've discovered myself. It would have been nice to have been told that when I was younger, but I think a lot of these things you do have to learn, but I think just the habits of doing something small really shows up over time.
Yeah, it's the consistency.
Yeah, the consistency and just showing up, because it's like viral media these days. You know, a video goes viral, but they also posted hundreds of videos beforehand. It's the right time, the right moment. It's all these things. So I think that comes across everything I do is I'm just trying to do a little bit more than yesterday, and you're just always going forward. Yeah,
I think that's wonderful. I think couldn't say it any better myself.
Very good.
So, is there anything you're currently working on, any projects or anything, or are you just enjoying life in the Cariboo?
Yeah, pretty much just enjoying life. I'm still working hard on PicFX. We've got a bunch of new filters and things coming out with that, new film frames and new content, and then just my own photography, really, like I'm trying to find a way to show my photography outside of the internet. So I've sold prints and things before, so I want to get back into doing some printmaking and getting my photos into people's hands rather than only on the screen. So probably, just focus on that.
Excellent. And then getting prepared for the winter.
Lots of snow photos. Like basically go back to shooting black and white because it's just tons of white.
Yeah, tons of white.
Yes. Yeah, it's nice, and I love shooting in the winter, apart from when the camera's frozen. But
a little bit. So. Thank you so much, Benjamin. It's been a wonderful conversation, and it's been so excellent to have you on the show here. Is there anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to do while you're here?
No, that's all. Thank you so much for having me. It's been really cool to speak to you, and I'm excited to see more of the podcast.
Yeah, and we're excited for this episode, just like we're excited to see more of your stuff out in the world there. So,
that's awesome.
So everybody, I hope have a great time. Keep warm, because it's getting a little chilly out here.
A little chilly.
I think I have a knee still. But...
Yeah. Fuck, I got my gloves on.
Lucky. The Cariboo interview. This is what we do here. So
It's nice.
Hey, thanks for listening once again. This was a fantastic interview, and Benjamin was a real treat to have on the show. I think it's so valuable to remember the little things that surround us every day, and I hope that his words inspire you to get out there and look at everything in a new light. Take a walk, look closer at something you've seen before, and try to find the beauty that is everywhere. Thank you again, and we'll see you in the next episode.